Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. My name is Baron Collins Hill. In this week's lesson, we're talking about the history of this mandolin here that I've had for about 12 years. And also, it's going to be a little cautionary tale because there's some things that I've been putting off on it that I finally had some work done, and I want to tell you about it so you don't have to suffer. You can learn from my mistakes and keep your mandolin in better shape than I did. So, if you've seen any of my videos before, chances are you've seen this mandolin. This is my trusty Ellis mandolin, built by Tom Ellis down in Austin, Texas. This mandolin I bought in 2009, new from the Music Emporium, just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And this mandolin has seen a lot of miles, a lot of hours, and I've put tons of time into this mandolin, played it more than any of the instruments you see around me by a long shot. And I wanted to give you just a little kind of background on the instrument and what I've had done to it kind of maintenance-wise in the past, and also what I've just had done, and sort of let you hear the difference between a mandolin that's really been set up and dialed in nicely versus how it was just a week ago. So, as I said, in 2009, I bought this mandolin new out of a shop in Lexington, Massachusetts, the Music Emporium. Great shop, no affiliation. And I really loved it, put a ton of miles into it. I was playing it every day for hours and hours. And in about 2 years, actually, my left hand plays heavy enough that I actually wore through the frets enough to warrant an entire refret of the instrument. I just had the standard, nickel frets that are normally on instruments. And just the way that I play, I wore through the frets really quick. I actually sent it back to Tom and his team in Texas, and they put in gold EVO frets, which is a little harder material. Not quite as hard as stainless steel, which I'm also a fan of. But they wear a lot slower than your standard frets. And ever since I sent it back to him in probably 2010 or 11, I haven't had any maintenance really done to this mandolin. I may have had a new nut made every 5 years because sometimes just the slots get too low and starts to buzz and things like that. But I never had a fret level, anything like that. And in the last year especially, over quarantine, I really started to hear that it wasn't performing its best, and I really wanted to get it in to a professional and get it really dialed in once more, just like it was when it was new out of Tom's shop. So what was the sign that my mandolin needed some work? There were a couple things. The frets were starting to display some grooving, and especially the first 5 frets. That made the intonation not great, so when I would play an open string, it sounded great, and then I would play something like the 5th fret, and it was just a little ow. That's overemphasized because I was bending the string. But it just didn't quite sound its best. I noticed it was very muted sounding, and I like a nice mellow mandolin, and I love this mandolin because it's got a nice kind of darkness to it. But it was getting a little over the top. The frets were very tarnished, and there was just a lot of different things going on. The action hadn't been dialed in. The fretboard was starting to get a little out of alignment, and the action was actually a little bit low at the nut and causing some buzzing as well, very slight. I was just kind of playing it as is for many years. So I brought the instrument in to a local instrument repair person. They put in 5 new frets, same gold Evo frets. They did a fret level. They did a little work on the nut to get it up a little bit higher. And I got it back, and only once I got it back with a new set of strings and all that fret work done did I really realize what I'd been missing. Over the past 10 years, the mandolin had slowly gone out of alignment, and I didn't really notice the changes because, I played it every day, and all these tiny little changes were moving. But as soon as I got it back, I was like, wow, this is what it sounded like, when it was really dialed in. I should do this more often. I hadn't changed my strings in probably 6 months on this mandolin just because it wasn't dialed in anyway, so what good are new strings? So now I just wanted to play you a little example of what exactly it sounds like now, and then I'll just play that in comparison to the most recent video I did where I did a little bit of playing, and you can really hear the difference and get a sense for yourself of what a dialed-in mandolin sounds like versus one that really is destined for a little bit of time in the shop. play the chords, I'll improvise. A lot of G scale. Little arpeggio. Now. I really prefer the sound of this mandolin. Now that it's back, it plays much easier, it sounds much better to my ears, and this is just a little reminder to myself that don't let the mandolin slip out as much, you know? Don't wait a decade until it's time to really take it into a shop. Don't wait until something goes drastically wrong in order to get it fixed up. If your mandolin isn't playing as well as you think it used to, bring it to a well-respected repair person in your area, and I think you'll be surprised about what they can do for you. That's all for today. Just wanted to talk a little bit about setup, and hope you got something out of that, and I'll see you next week with more lessons. Bye-bye.